Yeah, how is it going? Today is 12th of September, Tuesday, and we are taking a look at the market, what kind of opportunities we can find. In today's videos, we're gonna be taking a look at what's happening in UK. There are a number of articles. I thought it would be energy sector, but maybe there might be some defense contracts as well that we would be taking a look at, right? Uh, let's begin by taking a look at what would be UK's. We're gonna be taking a look at kind of nuclear sector, everything what's happening, right? Let's try to understand it by perhaps all the articles that will be published. I haven't read any of those, so let's start. Let's try read those together and let's try to understand. And we'll begin with strategy. Since we would be taking a look at most likely energy sector, we're gonna be taking a look at perhaps other opportunities and or challenges in Europe. That would be Ukraine and what's happening there when it comes to nuclear sector, right? As well as we can briefly touch on defense and what's happening with the nuclear and defense. That would be opportunities perhaps for people who would like to engage, right? Let's begin by taking a look at the article that was published today. That would be NDA publishes first ever nuclear heritage strategy. NDA published first ever nuclear heritage vision and our strategy to safeguard and celebrate the history of nuclear industry. I'm trying to understand it. Perhaps there would be more and more details with regards to location, but overall everything has started on the site was established at 1950s, right? So definitely some time ago. Today, the Nuclear Commission Authority has published first ever nuclear heritage vision and strategy to safeguard and will celebrate the history of nuclear heritage of the nuclear industry. UK is a pioneer of nuclear technologies, which has been part of our lives since 1950s. The NDA is tasked with the commissioning of UK's legacy nuclear sites and facilities, which has been at the heart of delivery of nuclear benefits for UK, including national defense program and supplying safe, low carbon power for decades. We can briefly touch and we'll try to understand what's happening with defense, so not necessarily just energy, right? A lot of other governments is taking a look at this sector, and perhaps that will be a lot of motivation. UK taking a look at and will reflect and better understand this sector as well, right? The heritage strategy, the NDA group is to identify and or preserve the tangible and or intangible asset. Okay, tangible. So perhaps information, data, all this kind of findings, research work, right? Objects and all memories. Okay, okay, of the industry, your nuclear industry. Okay, so perhaps let's let's continue. The people who worked in it and all communities that supported it. Okay, okay, let's progress. There was some statements. I'll skip all of those. Perhaps that will be people and some of the statements that people have made. Let's skip those and let's try to focus on hard data. Right, the strategy has been created to collaborate in collaboration with NDA Group, heritage specialists, and all consultation with others from heritage sector, as well as ensuring the right process of governance arrangements are in place and focus to engage with local communities and stakeholders and all the use of technology to help make collections and archive more accessible thoughts, digitalization or another way of storage of information, right? Archiving a lot of information, perhaps since NDA, that would be potentially how protected the entire information that's under that was, and that's how started in 1950s, right? There are very ways in which a strategy will be implemented. For example, the NDA and Celesfield have developed history workshops for local skills, supporting the Cold War Julian current. Okay, okay. Nuclear no, nuclear no. Uh, Nucleus and nuclear are certains are hives in Vic. Okay, okay. Let's progress. Let's progress to the next article, right? So there's some more details, but that would be reflecting on why the communities and everything was happening, right? But either way, let's progress and let's try to understand. So that would be a strategy and everything what's happening, and perhaps sharing that information and helping from younger adults, from what I understand, as well as communities to understand the importance and all perhaps challenges and the risk of nuclear, right? As well as there was other articles that was published that the Royal Navy's nuclear submarine support facility upgrade. UK submarine will be able to go through maintenance work faster and therefore deploy more quickly. Uh, at this stage, we're taking a look at the readiness level, right? Readiness level. So basically, if for whatever reason, what the readiness level of submarines should be very high, right? And it should always be kept at a very high level, right? Following major upgrades work at a key naval base facility is something that I have learned since there's a lot of money being spent, taxpayers' money. I have done a little bit of research and trying to understand how that money will be put into good use, and as well as there was a reflection of other governments and how some of those ships will be built by Japan, how long it will take, and how much longer it would take to do very similar tasks in the UK. It was something that was raised during some of the conferences, right? The biggest dry dock in Devonport, known as Nine Dock, has reopened today, following a major refurbishment projects worth 200 million completed under the contract with some of those private businesses. At the opening ceremony in Plymouth, Minister of Defense, Procurement and Oil Industry Maria, okay, that's the name, announced that Nine Dock Devonport pivotal for the government triple lock nuclear guarantee to deliver our next generation continuous at sea nuclear deterrent. Triple lock, I keep hearing this. I have no idea what that means. Perhaps it's something about the process as well as triple lock. That would be perhaps land, sea, and air. Perhaps that's triple. So perhaps, right? But either way. Let's try to understand what triple lock is. A triple lock is a nuclear guarantee, or often referred to a set of strong binding assurances related to nuclear security or protection. In various contexts, it may relate to measures taken by the government to international body to ensure that nuclear weapons are only used under very specific, secure, and non-controlled circumstances. It could involve 3 layers of security and authorization checks before any nuclear action is taken. Oh, okay. So, how hard it is to be activated, right? And there are processes in place, right? We can briefly reflect on Devonport. Devonport is the biggest naval base in Western Europe and has been a vital support for Royal Navy since 1906 to 91. Some people told me so that would be how big of the naval base at once it was. It would be somewhere around World War wars, where at least half of the city was the naval base, right? So there's a lot of things happening, right? So I think it was reduced in size of so-called footprint, how much space it was taking, and perhaps now they're looking to increase that space, from what I understand, right? Spread across a vast area of more than 650 acres, it features 19 dry docks, 4 miles of waterfront, 25 tide berths, and all 5 basins, right? With a workforce of 7,000 service people and civilians, Devonport is also contribute to the local economy by supporting approximately 600 local businesses and generating around the presence of the Plymouth income. employ more than 10% of Plymouth's workforce and contribute 14% of Plymouth's economy nationally. Devonport plays a vital role in supporting UK's maritime industry by creating high quality jobs, attracting future investment and sequentially strengthening UK's strategic position on the global stage, right? When it comes to people, I think it's way more. It says 7,000. I think it's way more people. But either way, there were 1,250,000 people employed during a grade to 9 dog throughout the project team and all supply chain. More than 900 people were local and all community daily with the 25 apprentices employed during the project, right? Again, I think there way more stuff. I don't know the details, right? I would say and supporting people, administration staff, legal staff, all these kind of things. I think it's way more people that's been employed. But overall, let's progress and let's take a look at the next article, right? I thought it might be important since we take a look at the nuclear sector, right? And there's a lot of conflicts in the world, right? As well as we can take a look at energy production. We potentially entering heating season, and I believe there might be a lot of important things happening, if not right now, in the future when it comes to. But that will be briefly, right? So that will be Ukraine and something that's happening today. There's let's skip names, right? So that it is some people have visited Ukraine and potentially understand a little bit more of what's happening, as well as we can reflect on a couple other areas that would be nuclear safety, security, and safeguard of Ukraine. UK's national statement to EAB board. So it is something perhaps worth reflecting that the Atomic Energy Agency. So Atomic Agency, so it's nuclear as well as. I thought I'll touch it, but since I would say when it comes to energy production, I thought it would be something to do with other Ukraine companies or based in Ukraine. Something of within the US, but most likely this company was operating only with oil and gas, according to this article that's something that was published in 2014. So not necessarily a nuclear sector, right? So I thought I'll touch on it. And we can close this article by taking a look at something that was published recently, right? And the last article that was published an hour ago. Most likely, I would say, and last part is going to be a lot of opinions, right? But not necessarily anyone need to make any decisions based on opinions, right? After the Royal Navy could become a nuclear navy. I have done a little bit of research and trying to understand how expensive it is to have nuclear air carrier, right? As well as I believe I think it's fourth generation air carriers, right? Since fourth generation and how expensive to maintain those carriers are, as well as most likely when it comes to fighter jets, most likely those fighter jets gonna be progressing into smaller size drones, so you can, or people or businesses or governments can build carriers with a smaller strips, as well as they could have two strips and a lot of drones instead of manned aircrafts, right? That would be fourth generation, right? As well as recently there was one air carrier for sale and nobody wanted to buy it. So it was all the electronics, all the parts, everything was taken off the air carrier, and it was like just a shell was for sale very recently, about 10 or so years ago. Nobody wanted to buy it, right? Perhaps if UK would decide to build one, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a little bit too expensive, and there are different processes. But if they would decide to build it, perhaps it should be built up to a new standard and all these kind of things, right? Briefly, right? We won't gonna be reading entire article since that will be something that was published by United States. If anything, just cost effective. I'm just looking to stretch of those tax money up there. If it's possible to do something else with that tax money, 75 or so billion over the next 5 years, air carrier, I don't know. just because other people are doing it. I don't know if that's the best direction, but I think they have best consultants. At least they should hire best consultants, and those best consultants perhaps can advise UK's armed forces, I guess, or military department of military or whatever, right? And if that's the best use of UK's taxpayers' money, just this point. If it is, just build one. If it's not, perhaps there might be some alternatives. Way less cost, right? Either way, nuclear power Royal Navy, it could happen, but yeah, but either way, the U.S. Navy operate 11 nuclear power aircraft carriers and dozens of nuclear power submarines. In fact, the Navy has no conventional power subs or carriers, after 21 amphibious transport decks, and no 10 big deck amphibious assault ships are conventionally powered, right? So that's really the way how it would powered, as well as I would say, let's take a look at the market and let's take a look at alternatives, right? Perhaps smaller size and more of, as well as it would be drones, not necessarily would be aircrafts, right? More cost-effective way of, but again, that's an opinion. Let's close on that. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.